I'm getting ready for a pop-up art show on December 4th, and pop-up art shows and fashion shows are becoming really pretty popular now, and I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And one of the most important things to me was to have a lot of different price points in my show. And probably the most affordable thing that I make are my woodcut prints. So I want to be able to show those, but at the same time, I don't want to frame each individual print. So let's go up into the studio. I'll show you the prints, kind of give you an idea of what I'm thinking about, and then we'll come back down into the wood shop and start to build it. So this is what I'm going for. I've taped these here so I could get a photograph for my site, but basically this is how I want them to look in the show. 2 panels right next to each other with 20 prints on each panel. And the idea here is not only do I think they look good this way, but also each one of the prints will be in a plastic sheet, and as they sell, they can just be taken off the shelf and sold, because this is just a one-night event and I'm trying to make everything really easy. Now, if you can't make it to the show, if you don't live close by, you can find these prints on my website. So now that we know what we're going for, we'll go back down to the shop and get to work. Okay, so you can see that I've already built one of the panels, and that's because I was basically just figuring it out. And what I've come up with is a piece of 1/2-inch plywood that measures 41 inches wide by 43.5 inches tall, with 5 shelves that measure 1 3/8 deep. And each one of those shelves has a groove cut into the shelf, and that's to keep the paper from slipping off. So let's go over to the table saw and I'll show you how that's done. I've already cut the shelves to 1 3/8. I set the fence at 1 1/16, and I've changed the angle of the saw blade to 5 degrees and raised the blade above the table just about 1/8 of an inch. Now I'm ready to cut the groove into all of the shelves. Now I'm ready to attach the shelving to the 1/2-inch plywood. I'm using pins and the pin nailer, wood glue, and the first shelf I'll attach flush with the bottom. To mark out where the next shelf goes, I cut a spacer at 8 1/4 inches, and I'll just rest this on the first shelf, make a mark on this side of the panel, and then over here on this side, and then use a straight edge to connect the lines. Now when I connect this shelf to the panel, I'll make sure that the bottom of the shelf is at that line. And now I'll just continue the process until I get to the top. So now that I've got the shelving done, I need to picture frame the back of the panel. And the reason why I'm going to picture frame it is that way when I hang the panel, I'm going to hang it with a wire, it will suck up tight against the wall. If I didn't brace out the back or picture frame the back, when I hung the panel to the wall, it would tip forward about 1/2 of an inch, and that would probably make the print fall off and it just wouldn't look as nice. So I'm going to get started by ripping strips of 1/2-inch plywood at 1 inch. I've turned the panel so the front is down, or the face is down, and now I'm going to picture frame the back. I'm not going to worry about mitering the corners. A simple butt joint will do for this project. The main thing though is to attach the piece to the sides first, because that way you cover up the end grain when you're looking at the panel from the side. So now this one is finished, And I'm going to go ahead and finish up the other one and hopefully get a coat of primer on them tonight. And then tomorrow we can see what the prints look like on the shelves. I primed the panels last night, and then this morning I sanded the panels and painted them with a semi-gloss latex paint. They're now dry, and I'm going to start putting some of the prints on the panels just to see how it looks. But before I do that, I want to show you how I'm going to fit the prints in the plastic sheets and then cut the sheets to size, because this is all part of how this presentation is going to work for the show. I've mentioned this in another video. These prints were designed to fit into a standard 8x10 frame. So the paper is 8x10, and I did that so it's easier for anyone who purchases one to frame them themselves. They can bring it to any home store and find a frame for one of these prints. So now that the print is in the plastic sheet, I'll use the basically the edge of the paper as a straight edge, hold this straight edge, so I've got maybe a 1/16 of an inch of room, and then just cut it. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Again, just cutting it about a 1/16 of an inch heavy. And then I'll use a piece of Scotch tape at the top here just to keep the envelope sealed. And then this will just drop into an envelope, and when I sell them they can simply be put into the envelope and go out the door. I don't have to worry about the paper getting a fingerprint on it or something like that. Well, I think these look really cool. I like this look. I know it's real whimsical, the imagery of the flower and the pigs, but I like that. I like to work with a lot of different types of imagery and genres and mediums. I like to just do a lot of different stuff. So, and I think these are real fun and real light, and I think they're going to look cool in the show because they're going to be on a big wall, and I'll probably frame a few of them up so people can get an idea of what they look like when they're framed. If you can make it to the show, it is December 4th. If you live in the area, it'd be great to meet you. If not, and you want to just check these out, go to my site and you'll find a Shopify link and you can see some of the prints. These are a lot of fun because I've mailed these, I've sold these all over the world now, and it's really cool to think that maybe in someone's kitchen somewhere is, you know, one of these pigs or something. And the pig is the same image or design for the breadboard that I think I made in the show here maybe 2 years ago. And it's the same pig breadboard that we use in our house. So everything sort of has some kind of meaning to my life and what I do. And I think that's important about art. It should somehow be connected to the artist. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.